he may have figured out how to go from room to room in such a way that the physicians thought, you know, they'd not seen him before, and they thought he was just looking to observe a procedure or some particular procedure. That happens all the time.
Exactly.
It's not as though this is so bizarre if it was a teaching hospital. But, you know, what service was he on? You think somebody would start raising some questions. What service was he on? Who's the resident supervising him? Who's he attending for that service he's in? Yes, you can see my procedure, but who are you working with? And he didn't seem to have a direct answer. It's really interesting, Spirit. It just occurred to me, one of the interesting aspects of this is how we as people, particularly people in authority, they're trying to be helpful. We sort of fill. You know, we don't quite get a specific answer, and we kind of fill it with something. We make an understanding out of it, even though they don't give us the facts.
Exactly. We just make it fit. But, you know, Dr. Drew, the other part of this you mentioned in the first segment was about mom. I'm thinking my 17-year-old son who has a mental health problem, who's not taking his meds, where does he go all these hours?
Yes.
And how come I don't know where he is?
That's
and is
right.
he taking the lab coat and the stethoscope home every day, or does he have a locker at the hospital? Why are we all on autopilot and nobody is asking the question? That's
exactly, Spirit, I think you're right on target there with that, because that's specifically exactly what I'm saying. We got to have the lights on and think about these things. Everybody needs to be aware and thinking about these things. But I agree, the mom, Wendy, is what bothers me a lot here. How many stories do we have to do about parents in denial? Listen, I'm sympathetic to the pain it is in terms of coming to terms with this kind of thing, but if somebody's endangering themselves or someone else and specific treatment interventions have been recommended, but we got to hold parents accountable on some level.
Before I ever blame a mom, Dr. Drew, I always want more information.
Yeah,
was she a single mom? Was she having to work 3 jobs to support 3 kids? Was he lying to her and telling her that he was at the homework hangout every afternoon? I mean, there's lots more information I would need.
Amongst the evidence found in this teen's car was discharge papers from a different hospital in the area, so there's another serious HIPAA problem there. He had been posing as a physician at that facility as well, evidently. As we said, the mom refused, at least he says to the mom, he refused to take his medication. Emily, I've never heard of anything quite like this myself, but I do know that it can get confusing to healthcare providers when there are lots of observers around, as there can be in teaching hospitals, and there needs to be.
Yeah, and as a patient, though, you have the right to ask or to refuse care from that doctor. You also have the right to see what their, they may not have a diploma at a teaching hospital, but if you were in private practice, you'd have a diploma or some sort of licensure. And as a patient, you have a cell phone. You can Google these doctors. There is information out there that makes you a very active consumer, especially if your doctor looks like Doogie Howser.